Norse Atlantic Airways, without a doubt, offers some of the cheapest tickets across the Atlantic, normally selling for around $300 to $400 one way. Now, I normally fly economy on this channel. I think it's what's relevant to most people, and honestly, I could never justify the cost of most premium tickets anyway. Although, thanks to a very lucky sale, today will be different. I found a premium economy ticket for about the same price as economy on any other airline, just $400, and I knew I couldn't pass it up. Don't worry though, almost everything aside from the seat itself, like the food and entertainment, is the same in economy on Norse, so this review should be relevant even if you can't make the upgrade to premium for yourself. So today, I hope you will join me to see if Norse Atlantic's rock-bottom prices are actually worth it, or if the downsides are just too much, flying from Miami to London-Gatwick aboard Norse Atlantic 787-9 Dreamliner. Welcome to Miami International Airport, an airport I am not a big fan of. I'll try not to get into too much detail though, since Norse doesn't fly here anymore. Since their start in 2021, along with Miami, they previously flew to quite a few airports across the US and Europe that they have since cancelled. Today, from their main hub in London-Gatwick, which I know is weird given their name, they still operate flights to just Orlando and New York JFK in the US, as well as Cape Town and Bangkok. During the summer months, their route map expands to include flights from Rome and to Athens. They do also have flights from Scandinavia, but it's limited to just Oslo and Stockholm to Bangkok and Phuket. To add a bit more reach to this limited map, Norse partners with DoHop, a third-party booking service that books self-transfers, 2 separate tickets stitched together where you will still need to, for example, recheck your bags on your own. The risk of a missed connection is covered by their ConnectSure travel insurance, if you pay a fee, and if you do try DoHop, you should probably get that. I have never tried DoHop myself though, and I'm skeptical of third-party sellers in general, so I can't vouch for them, although Norse does, as well as plenty of other reputable airlines. Anyway, back in Miami, I arrived at check-in just before it opened, 4 hours before takeoff. Even though there are already a few other people here, we shouldn't need to wait in line for long, since premium passengers get a separate check-in lane. While we wait to check in, by the way, surprisingly for a budget airline, Norse offers free carry-ons to all passengers, and the first checked bag comes with all fare types except light fares for economy and premium. For them, a checked bag is $75, which is average for a transatlantic flight. Checking in was nice and easy, although Norse seems to be very strict on bags. I can't say I've had to weigh my tiny backpack before, so make sure to pay attention to size and weight restrictions. Our flight is leaving from the F concourse today, which has gotta be one of Miami's worst. It has a very low ceiling, lacks a lot of natural light, and has really bad food options. At least it doesn't lack seating. There's still an hour or two till our plane gets here, so I of course pass the time with plane spotting. I'll be sad to see the A340s going soon. This airport is a hub for Atlas Air, so I got to see lots of cargo activity like the 767 landing, and this beautiful 747 taxiing by. By the way, if you are enjoying this review so far and want to see more like it, I already have a ton up on the channel for you to check out, as well as plenty more on the way, so make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Also, after the release of my last review, we passed 2,000 subscribers, so I want to take this moment to thank you all for sticking around. I really never thought these videos would get any attention, so it means a lot. Oh, and here's our aircraft. This is Golf Charlie Kilo Whiskey Sierra, otherwise known as Yellowstone, since Norse names all of their aircraft after the national parks of Europe and America. Our aircraft was originally delivered to Norwegian in 2019, an airline you might think of today as just another European regional budget carrier. Starting in 2013, however, Norwegian attempted to expand into long-haul low-cost flying, focusing on connecting destinations across Europe to the US and Canada, famously selling economy tickets for as low as $200, which was quite popular. They had a lot of issues, though. To put it simply, Norwegian was drowning in debt from over-aggressive expansion, failed to upsell customers enough to make a profit, and had to deal with endless 787 reliability issues and the 737 MAX groundings. Sadly, COVID was enough to finish them off. Just a month after Norwegian officially ended long-haul in January 2021, Norse was founded, partly by Norwegian executives. They bought up lots of Norwegian's former slots, hired former Norwegian crew, and bought the 12 former Norwegian 787-9s that make up their fleet today. It's fair to say Norse is really just Norwegian 2.0, but without a lot of the debt, and a lot more focus on upsells and premium, all while flying a much more conservative route map. To add an extra revenue stream, Norse is also focused a lot on leasing. They're actually only using 7 of their 12 Dreamliners right now, with the remaining 5 flying for Indian budget airline Indigo.
Señores pasajeros del vuelo 3171 con servicio a la ciudad de Turquía, vuelo de Global X y Air, son todos bienvenidos a abordar por la puerta F23.
It's supposed to be time to board soon, but so far the gate has been left completely unattended. At this point, I was honestly worried that I was in the wrong spot, or there was some big delay that the airline couldn't be bothered to communicate. Thankfully, just a few minutes before boarding was scheduled to begin, someone showed up, made an announcement advertising a last chance for a premium upgrade, and started boarding. Since we're in premium, I managed to be the second person to board. Norse's boarding is very simple, with premium passengers, families, and those who paid for priority boarding going first, and then economy, followed by economy light. Norse's cabin layout is also quite simple, with a cabin of 282 economy seats making up the majority of the aircraft, and a section of 56 premium economy seats in between the front of the aircraft and door 2. For economy, Norse uses HAECO 3500 seats, and while I've personally never sat in one before, they don't look any less comfortable than your average economy seat, with adjusting headrests, 31 inches of pitch, and a seatback screen which is free to use. If you have never heard of an airline locking screens behind a paywall, it is a thing, and I'm glad Norse doesn't try it. For the low price Norse sells their economy seats, I was expecting to see the torture devices you'd find on Spirit or Ryanair, but these look perfectly fine. We, however, are headed to the front of the aircraft. Up here you will find the premium economy section. Norse once again uses HAECO seats here, this time the 3050. While these seats don't lie flat, since it's just a premium economy seat at the end of the day, they are still proper recliners, with 43 inches of pitch, leg rests, and a great recline. Here is our seat today, where we will be spending the next 8 hours, 7J. Seats, by the way, are selected for a fee, even in premium. Since this cabin is the standard 232 layout you'll find in most 787 premium economy cabins, you might need to pay up to avoid the proper middle seat. Seats up here range from $70 for the window seats to $65 for the middle. Seats in economy go from $50 to $35. Aside from the logos and trim, this entire cabin is actually inherited directly from Norwegian. If you thought the seats, or especially the seatback screens back in economy, seemed a little old, that is why. I really can't fault Norse for that though. When they bought this plane, the cabin would have only been a few years old. Sitting down, I was immediately given a cup of water before I could even start reviewing the seat. Personally, I'm going into this flight expecting basically economy service, but in a nice big seat, which, to be clear, is fine for the price. But this is a nice little hint of a real premium service, although one of the only ones. Anyway, the first thing that really strikes me with the seat is how bland the seatback is, with nothing but the seatback pocket and that weird bolt on top. Don't worry though, if economy gets screens, we of course do too. It's just in the armrest. Just open the lid, lift this tab, and it launches up at you. Maybe this is because the seatback is too far forward, or the recline is too extreme, both of which are good problems to have. But this does have the downside of not being able to have the screen out during takeoff or landing. I still have a window to look out of during that time though, so that's not really the end of the world for me. The 11-inch screen itself is nothing exceptional, although the screen looks a little fuzzy. The bottom of the screen has your headphone jack and a USB-A socket. The side of the armrest below the screen also has a built-in control panel, but I never really use these. On the opposite armrest, there are two little tabs that you use to recline your seat, and in the armrest, a bifold tray table. It's a good size, although feels a little flimsy. I know the texture looks a bit odd, but I think that's just worn paint. Returning to the seat back pocket, you can find the safety card, in-flight menu, and a sick bag. And needless to say, the legroom is amazing. The headrest has adjustable sides, although sadly the height is fixed. Above you, there's a reading light and thankfully an air vent, a feature I personally really wish was standard on European airlines. In between seats, there are two universal power outlets. And underneath the seat in front of you, a footrest, although I'm a bit too tall for those to be comfortable for me.
787 scheduled service to London-Gatwick. Everyone's on board. We're ready up front here. We'll be closing the doors. The earliest we can close the doors is in about 10 minutes, so we'll be closing doors. I'm off on our way in a flight time of 7 hours 49 minutes. Most of the flight...
I almost forgot to mention, in Premium you will find a blanket with these really cute little Norse logos, along with a pillow that I think is a little too thin to be very useful, although the cover is silky smooth. An amenity kit is also included with Premium fares, although it's pretty basic. It simply includes some earplugs, earbuds, which are of course terrible, and an eye mask. You won't find any of this waiting for you in economy class, yes, even the earbuds, although you can still purchase them in flight. As of writing, the earbuds go for $5, the blanket for $6.50, and the closest thing to the amenity kit, which also includes a neck pillow and case, goes for $9. Also, it looks like I got really lucky with a free seat next to me. In fact, it looks like there are only a couple of people per row. Maybe this is why Norse doesn't fly to Miami anymore.
For this slight delay, despite our best endeavours, there is a bit, there's quite a few aircraft congestion in the taxiway, just blocking us from pushing up back and starting our engines. Air traffic control just kept us on the gate here for around probably another 5 to 10 minutes or so.
Well, to pass the time, we can always do some more plane spotting. The all-black aircraft taxiing by right now belongs to TCS World Travel, a private travel company that offers months-long round-the-world journeys for absolutely absurd prices. How could I skip over the airline next to us, World Atlantic, a Florida-based charter airline using a fleet of just 4 MD-83s, sadly a very rare catch today. Arriving now is the Skycana A321 with their special Go Puerto Plata livery, an airline that went bankrupt just a month after this was filmed. Finally, a bit further back you can see an Eastern Airways Express 737. If you want to know what that airline is about, I actually have a review of them which you can check out after this. It looks like it's finally time to push back, an hour late. However, I want to make it very clear this isn't Norse's fault. The pilot did say that Miami was having some serious congestion, and he wasn't lying. Basically, every flight here today was delayed. Taking a look at Norse's flights on this route in the days prior, they seem to be on time. Taking a look at their on-time performance today, though, it's a bit of a mixed bag. While there are plenty of on-time flights here, Norse seems to have periods of pretty consistent disruption. I normally wouldn't be super critical of this, delays happen to everyone, but with Norse relying on those self-transfers through DoHop, this just isn't okay. I'm glad we still got a pretty nice view of Miami departing. On the ground, the delay had me worried it might be a bit too dark. Since the sun is setting soon, I should probably talk about these windows while I still can. For those who don't know, the windows aboard this type of aircraft are fitted with a gel that can tint the window to near black instead of a window shade. You can use these buttons to control the setting, and it can take a few minutes to fully dim. I have mixed feelings about these windows. On the one hand, I like that the medium setting can allow you to see without letting lots of light in. On the other hand though, they lose their effectiveness over time, they can get really hot, and my main issue, the crew can override your settings. I understand at least limiting the max brightness during sleeping hours, and if that was all, I wouldn't have a problem. A lot of crews though will set to full darkness from just after takeoff to just before landing, even at nighttime, just because they don't want to deal with it. Why even choose a window seat at that point? Thankfully, this crew wasn't that bad. They waited till after dinner to just lock it to mostly dark. What do you think of these windows? Are they an improvement over window shades or just an annoyance? About 30 minutes into the flight, drinks arrived. I went for ginger ale and got the whole can, although it isn't actually any bigger than the cup. Drinks come complimentary with premium fares, but if you're in economy, you'll need to pay. You can view all of your options in the in-flight menu located in the seat back pocket, as well as on the IFE screen, which we'll check out later. The drinks and snacks all go for around $4, which is pretty reasonable for a budget airline. Hot meals are also an option here, which are different from the normal in-flight meals we'll be getting soon, although this is only available when departing from Europe. Either way, if it were an option, you can get a chicken with green curry for $13, as well as a pasta, couscous and vegetables, or fries for $6. Behind all this, there's of course a duty-free shopping section if you're into that. An hour into the flight, our main meal is here. Since we are in premium, this meal and the breakfast that will come later are included with our ticket. If you're back in economy, only the main meal is included, except for economy light who get nothing. You can still pay for the meals though, with the main course going for $30 and breakfast for $20. Our main course today is a chicken parmesan with some cherry tomatoes, asparagus, mashed potato, and squash. This was the only option, although you can select other specialty meals when booking. For a side, we have a barley salad with a slice of ham on top, dessert is a strawberry crumble cheesecake, and we also get a cold bread roll with butter. Utensils are just these standard wooden ones, pretty sad for premium economy, although again, this is the same meal passengers in economy receive, so that's fine. Overall, the meal is unfortunately pretty bad. The chicken itself tastes cheap, and I don't think I would have even known it's supposed to be a chicken parmesan if I hadn't been told, with this cheap cheese sauce on the top that barely gives off a hint of flavor. The vegetables are also pretty tasteless and soggy. I know someone watching this is thinking, oh, it's airplane food, what do you expect? But I know good chicken can be done, like this chicken and risotto aboard Delta, or this chicken teriyaki aboard Lufthansa. I know these are more premium airlines, but both were still economy meals. Beyond that, the salad was way too bitter for me, the cheesecake was fine at best, and the bread roll was the only thing I actually noticed myself enjoy. While the meal is still at least worth eating for me since it comes with the ticket anyway, well, except maybe for the salad, I feel like you'd be better off just ordering some of the meals from the in-flight menu for half the price, because if I had actually directly paid $30 for this, I'd feel insulted. Now that things are calming down and most passengers are getting ready for sleep, let's take a look through our in-flight entertainment system. Norse uses the very popular Panasonic EX system, although for obvious reasons, it's an older model by now. It has a very simple UI, with just a TV and movie section, flight info, an About Us section, and shopping. The age of the screen had me worried that it would feel like it's being run by a potato. Thankfully though, as you can see, it's quick and responsive. While the selection of movies is pretty small for today's standards and feels a little old, I still passed by plenty of movies I'd watch. The selection of TV shows is kinda useless though, because the episodes available are really weird, like Avenue 5 episodes 4 through 9, or Legends of Tomorrow episodes 6 through 10. Why? The shopping section is just a digitized version of the in-flight menu we already looked at, so I won't get into too much detail, but since drinks are complimentary and premium, they show up as free here, meaning we can order a drink be brought to our seat whenever the shop is available. Finally, the flight info is surprisingly bare, only showing basic info like flight times, altitude, and speed, without an in-flight map. This is actually a bit of a letdown for me since I normally love having the map open if I ever switch to watching something on my phone. Surprisingly, Norse has absolutely no in-flight Wi-Fi, even for purchase. I find this a bit strange since Norwegian was actually rolling out Wi-Fi as early as 2019, so there's a good chance this aircraft has the equipment installed. On a more positive note, I was planning on getting some more footage, and maybe watching a movie, but the seat is just too comfortable, so not long after food service, without even trying to, I fell asleep. I woke up with about 2 hours left in the flight, even though it's still completely dark here, which is a bit disorienting. The premium cabin lavatory is unexceptional, with seemingly no difference between the economy and premium cabins, but it's at least kept clean and well organized, which is the most important part. Overall, there are 2 lavatories available to the premium cabin, and 7 for economy. Breakfast is served about an hour before landing. The main course, which is once again the only option, is a salmon dish, on top of another barley salad, cherry tomatoes, raisins, some greens, and dressing. I didn't actually know until this flight, but salmon is a popular breakfast item in the UK, although I for some reason doubt Norse does it justice here, as I once again just did not enjoy this meal. Probably again thanks to the barley salad, pretty much all I could taste was bitterness, which to me is just not enjoyable. Aside from that, you get some strawberry yogurt, a blueberry loaf, and another bread roll. Yeah, do not spend money on Norse's meals, and even if they come with your ticket, maybe try and eat on the ground. By the way, did you notice I needed to turn on the overhead lights to actually film this? Even as breakfast is being served, the windows are still locked dim. Finally, the windows were unlocked just in time for sunrise.
Fold your tray tables away, set your window to clear, put your seat upright with the armrest down, stow your leg rest, and fasten your seatbelt. Please also stow...
So, I know this airline does have a few drawbacks. Mainly, it can be hard to actually fly on Norse. They have a really limited route map that for most people is dependent on you being willing to give their self-transfer a try, which means long and potentially stressful connections. The lack of Wi-Fi is a bit weird, especially because they could make some money with it. And the food really could, and for the amount they charge, should be better. There are lots of positives worth noting though. First off, the crew aboard this flight was wonderful, incredibly friendly and attentive. The in-flight entertainment gets the job done, and perhaps the most important part, this airline can absolutely save you money. At least when this was written, if you look forward enough, you will still find transatlantic tickets going for under $200, which is just ridiculous today. In the end, the add-ons aren't that bad either. The essentials like a bag, maybe seat selection, some food and drinks, still leave you with a great price. Looking at premium tickets too, again, if you look ahead enough, you can get this amount of space for the price of economy tickets on other airlines. So, I think, if you can find the right day, and happen to be flying a route Norse operates, and can make sure you'll eat in the airport, and don't have any urgent appointments to make, give Norse a try. There is no cheaper way to cross the Atlantic, and especially in premium, cross the Atlantic with good sleep.
London-Gatwick Airport, where the local time here is 6:55 in the morning. For those passengers connecting, kindly ask that you clear customs and immigration and collect your baggage. Please proceed to the departures check-in area and recheck your bags. On behalf of Norse Atlantic, Airways, the captain and the cabin crew, I'd like to thank you for flying with us today.
Thank you for watching, especially all the way till the end. I hope you enjoyed. I know it's not the most important aspect of an airline, but I really love Norse's livery. What did you think of Norse? Does it seem worth it to you? And if you've tried it before, how did it go? Next up on this channel, we'll actually be trying out another one of Europe's long-haul low-cost carriers, although unfortunately next time we'll be back in economy. With my bags collected, I'll be heading to my next flight, and I hope to see you again soon.